Okay, here we go. Alright, there we go. Shot looks good. Lighting works. Hair exists. Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you're having a good Saturday. Welcome to AfterCut, a series about post-processing and processing post, where we take apart my creative process, discuss it whether I'm editing photo or film, and just make mistakes, get messy, and show all the steps from starting point to actually making something that might be good. So, and discussing the thought process along the way. So, my name is Eric, and I am a photographer, writer, and filmmaker. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the channel. We are going to today. We are going back to Colorado. We still have several photos. I think we're probably doing at least 2 more sessions of this, but several photos left to go through, to cover the last week. Of me being out in the Rockies. We are still we're on our third of 5 sections of photos, different locations, and of the 1,629 photos that we started with, we're slowly whittling it down, but yeah. So we are back in Kebler Pass, which is an unpaved mountain road. It's about 30 miles. It takes about 2 hours to drive through normally. Took about 4 hours for us to get through because we kept getting out with cameras. It goes between the towns between Montrose and Crested Butte. It's one of the main ways to get to Crested Butte, and you can get to Crested Butte. You cannot get to Crested Butte through Kebler Pass in the winter because it becomes completely impassable with snow, which is super cool, and super cool to get to be there for it. I get to be there to see it in the summer. So that's what we're going to be working on for the next couple of hours. I'm hoping to get through all the Kebler Pass photos. I know there's some bad ones. I know there's a lot of them that I'm going to sit there and agonize over. There's like 6 that are like kind of the same. Which one do I go with? So we will see. But yeah, that's the plan. As always, if you have comments or questions or thoughts, please feel free to share them. I love the chance to dissect and defend and discuss my creative process. And hopefully, as we discuss things, maybe you will get me to see something in a way that I didn't, because that's the essence of art. Is we are all experiencing the same world and just seeing it and processing it very differently. And some of us use that to create beautiful masterpieces. I'm putting maybe for me in that category. Some of us use it to say, well, we should bulldoze this and mine oil, or drill for oil, which don't do that. Don't be one of those people. Go the other route. The world is beautiful as is. Enjoy it. Protect it. Anyway. Yeah, my soapbox is down there. I'm gonna be ranting. Anyway, that being said, let's go ahead and get on into Colorado. As I've discussed in the previous streams, pretty much all of the photos I took on this trip. Let's set this rating back to 0 now that I know where I'm going. Pretty much all the photos that I took on this trip, I took in black and white. That's not necessarily a stylistic choice. All of them can come back. That's good in color. We'll come back to that. Many of them will be getting color versions. Many of them will be getting only color versions. It's very dependent. But I take all my photos in black and white because it helps me with composition. It helps me focus on just the framing. And it's a good exercise for me, so that's why I do it. So yes, all of these photos do have color versions. We will be looking at them intermittently. Yesterday I did a thing where I kind of had, nope, that's not it. I want the before and after one. There we go. Kind of had something like this where I'd show both color and black and white. That was kind of cool. I may continue doing that. But again, the reason I shoot in black and white right now is to not distract myself. And God, the colors in this picture are vibrant. All right, so it looks like we've got. Here we go. Like I said, we're starting with 6. We got 6 photos here that are all kind of this same little stream. Let's click our way through them. I take it back. I want to see these in color. I think color is going to be the the defining aspect. I like that. That's kind of about what I've been waiting for this. I'm clicking through this series, waiting for this photo to do, is to lose some of the ground up here and get some treetops up here. I like that a lot. I also, and it's actually the first time I can talk about this where it's actually a forest picture. When I think about how my different approach to editing photos and to choosing photos, I look at a couple different things. I look down here in my main window is what I think of as the trees, which actually in this case has trees, where I can look at details, I can zoom in, I can sort of like, click through and see, okay, does that work? Is there a person in the background of that? Is that actually, in focus to a strong enough degree? And then there's a little thumbnail up here, which is kind of my forest picture, quote unquote, where you see the forest or the trees. And this kind of helps me get a first, like I can glance at that and get a first reaction to, what I might feel if I was to see this photo on a phone or on a website, or even just glancing and seeing it in a room, on an opposite wall with in a frame. And that also, more than anything else, kind of really helps me make my decision about, like, this, it's easy to get lost in the details. This one I can look at and go, yeah, I feel something when I see that. And I do feel something when I see this one. This one's, probably getting a 1-star rating anyway, because 1 star is my, I'm going to flag the photos as picked or rejected. That's kind of the main thing we're doing here. Some of them I will throw a 1 star on as a, like, hey, we picked this and definitely come back and consider editing this. All right, coming down. Yeah, I'm working my way backwards now. Something I like about this one, I don't like it as much as the first one. I guess the other one we looked at, the last one. This one's got some treetops. This one also has some, some tree foliage from a tree that I'm standing, like, kind of shooting underneath, right at the top. There's always one more here. Yeah, this is an easy choice. It's the last one. And usually when I have a collection of these, I'm like, all right, well, I'm expressing different ideas, and I can see kind of a point to keeping a couple of them, because it's like, it's different versions of the thing. I'm looking at this, and I'm going, no, this is the photo I wanted to take. This is the photo that I was trying to make when I started, and I got there. Great. Cool. This is another one of the reasons you don't see photographers do what I'm doing right now. Or at least I haven't found photographers doing what I'm doing right now outside of seminars and paywall, talks and stuff, because it is... If all you know about me as a photographer is just this photo, if I just show you this photo, then this looks great. Again, this is a photo I haven't edited yet, and I'm already looking at this going, that's a really pretty photo. There's a lot that I'm gonna like. There's a good amount of editing and processing I can do with this photo, but all of it is gonna be in aid of just like some of these photos. I talked about this a lot yesterday. Some of these photos. My goal of my photography is to replicate the feeling of being in the place and the feeling of experiencing this as much as I can through a photograph, and and also without drastically altering the image. Like, we're not opening Photoshop, we're not editing, we're not adding stuff. I'm trying to convey the emotion of what it felt like more than just a picture of what the place looks like. And sometimes in some photos, it's like, okay, this is going to require some editing to really get you to feel the vibe. Some of them like this, I'm like, no, I need to. I'm going to sharpen some of this. I'm going to darken the darks. I'm going to bring a little more contrast. I might make the river pop a little bit more, but like for the most part, this photo is like, my job as an editor is to enhance this photo and to, like, I don't need to. It's not a long walk to making this thing to give you the feeling that I have, that I remember looking at, when I made this photograph. When I found this photograph. I like saying found. But yeah, so like, even raw, this photo still looks very, very good. If all you knew about me was this photograph, you would have I would hope would have a, like, oh, that's like, it's a well done photograph. It would give you an opinion of me. If like starting out, I'm showing you, yep, here's the rough draft that didn't work. Here's the next one that didn't work. That was closer. Here's the next one that doesn't quite work. Now I went the wrong direction. Here's the next one, overcorrected, went the wrong direction, and the other way. here's one where I'm going down, like this one's, okay, now I'm backing up, now I'm zooming out, maybe that's the thing, like, and then bam, I land on the right one. It's like, okay, that's, like, that makes me seem less impressive. But that's the process that every single photographer goes through. That's what a creative process is. Like, we all make awful mistakes. Look at that. That's very pretty. These street signs here not necessarily helping. I don't know if I can crop that. I actually have to find out if I can crop that out. Like, I can. Does that hurt the photograph if I do that? No, it doesn't. I actually kind of like that. Let's come down here and pull some highlights down. Actually, I can close the cropping. Nope, not pulling highlights down. Do I have anything in the sky? There's a sky. The sky is completely overexposed. Interesting. This is before I put that polarizer back onto my lens. Okay. All right, I'm interested. What about dehaze? Dehaze is a pretty. Nope. There is a barely any information in that sky. That's wild. We talked about it a couple nights ago on stream. Talked about, like, overexposed and underexposed, and how, like, looking at your histogram, like, a lot of the times stuff that's kind of close to the edges you can still pull a lot of information out back from it. And when you can't, when you try to, like, take something that's overexposed, that's truly overexposed, and bring the color back and bring the light back into control, what you get is just darker grays as opposed to white. That's kind of what you're seeing here, where if you look at the white sky here, and then, like, I just lower the exposure, and it just, like, you get a little more cloud over here, but for the most part, it just sort of goes to a flat gray, which, yeah, that's truly overexposed. Doesn't necessarily hurt the photo. I don't necessarily think it's a bad photo, but it is pretty overexposed. Okay, I'm gonna keep this one. I think there's something to it, but interesting. Okay. But yeah, no, you're seeing my creative process. You're seeing my mistakes. All right, here we go. And this is me getting a similar shot without the street signs in it. Did I do any better with the sky here? No, the sky got a little more interesting. That's about it. Weird to say. Okay, stop adjusting the exposure. I like the first one better. I think I like. Hang on a second. Let me bring this back to its original crop. So I'm judging it based on what it is, not based on what I'm shifting it to be. Yeah, I don't know. I like the first one better for some reason. So we're gonna lose that. We're gonna keep the first one. Yeah. So you're seeing the creative process. You're seeing mistakes. That's part of the reason I want to do this. Is I want to share that process and those mistakes, because it's not about, like, it's the destination and the journey are both important. And if I just, like, if all you see is the destination, A, you're missing out on the awesome journey, and B, I'm just rotating all these. I will decide what I want to do with them in a second. Gives me a chance to riff. But boom, mountains, excellent, coming back. Yeah, you miss out on the journey, which is a hugely important part of it, and also it makes art seem inaccessible. Like, okay, we got some cloud on this one. That's good. Bring the whites down. How much sky do I have? There's actually a good amount of that sky. Yeah, none of this is overexposed. I dehaze this. There you go. Now we're talking. I think this is going to be definitely keeping this one. Might crop it in a little bit. I got a little bit of the road in there. I don't know if that matters too much. I do kind of like it. I also have a couple more that are similar. We'll see which ones, if any of these eclipse this one. But yeah, I like the detail in the sky, and I probably, when I process this, I will probably give the sky a good bit of, like, I'll darken the sky down about to close to where it is, or even more. I'm just turn the clarity up on it. It doesn't. Clarity rarely does much in the sky. So yeah, I'll do stuff to the sky, and then I will separately. This does look good, but I will separately adjust the mountain and the trees, either as a single unit or as two separate entities. But yeah, I'll go back to the before and after here, so you see. Look at the color. Look at that. Like, if I was to dehaze that. Nope, you're not going to show it to me unless I take the color off. Let's do that. Okay, here we go. So that's what it looks like. Why does that look different? Why is it before and after different? We didn't do anything. I'm confused. Why that looks that way. I got a camera. No, camera standard isn't doing that. Weird. Do I have a setting something on here that I'm not aware about? I have no idea why why the before and after look different here when they're not supposed to have anything on them. I click reset. What's gonna happen? Nothing. I'm confused now. That's just weird that that's got a different color to it. Interesting. Okay. But anyway, if I was to dehaze this, yeah, get some nice color there. If I pull the highlights down, get some sky. Yeah, that's a garish. It's garish blue. Everything else looks pretty cool. You get the purple in the mountains is always cool to see. But all right, we're coming back down to there. So yeah, I like this one, even though it's perplexing me. All right, let's see. Here's another one, trying to go for a better version of it. Again, I don't know why this color is slightly different. Like I'm not the only one seeing that. I don't know why the color is bluer in one of these versus the other. I think go all the way back to the import. No, it just looks like that. This is bizarre. I'm going to interrogate that, see if I'm accidentally putting a filter on something. Anyway, looks good either way. And if I want to make it look like this, it's not hard to do. That's actually like it's a little bit something like that. A little bit of color shifting. I like this. I think if I can get a good sky in the first one, I like the first one better. If I can't, this is a really good. And I was talked a lot about yesterday. I talked a lot about liking those photographs where you have a foreground subject. In this case, it's kind of this tree here, which does look very good in color. That then kind of becomes you notice the tree, and the tree kind of, you notice the trees and the trees that are closer, and then you get to slowly see this tree that you can see the intricate details of, get to see it turn into a forest, and it gives you the feeling and the context of, right, this forest is full of trees as equally detailed and complex and interesting as this one up here. Which, fun fact, that's not just a story about trees. But, yeah, and then having the mountain in the background is a nice element. It feels like you were journeying to the mountain, but from the tree to the mountain, but you were not skipping the forest. The tree here, I think, at least for me, guides me through the forest as opposed to just jumping straight to the mountain. Personal thing. Who knows? That might just be me. Also, looking at the thumbnail up here, I do really like this. I like the composition of it. We'll come back. We may do that one again. I, for some reason, like this one less. Maybe it's because there's a nice diagonal kind of feeling here between this peak and the peak of the tree, that it's sort of just that just kind of guides me between the two. I noticed this and I noticed that. This one feels like that's off center. It feels like it's more about the tree, but less about the relationship. Let's say no to that one. Bunch of trees. It's a good. There's just the seas of trees you get out there are just something else. This photo isn't doing a whole lot for me right now. I'm going to say no to this one. We've got, going back a bit, where's this tree with the, is this the one? No, where's the one? Is it here? Yeah, it's here. Okay. So I got a couple shots. I think I got a wider one somewhere here. No, they're all kind of close. But yeah, this tree here with the, I wanted to do a lot of sea of trees pictures, and I knew I was going to, but I was also looking for, I need a subject. I need a tree that I can kind of, that stands out, because if I just show you a photo that's just a whole bunch of trees, it's a photo that's just a whole bunch of trees and doesn't guide you anywhere. There's not a story or a connection there, at least that I don't currently feel, but for a photo that I've taken like that. So I like this because I found this tree with all the pine cones on top, and I was able to center that, in black and this photo is not going to be done in black and white. This photo is going to be done in color because those pine cones being and I'm gonna as I work with the color on that photo, I'm gonna make those pine cones a more obvious visual element so that you see them, and that becomes cool. This is a shot of that tree, and then surrounded by others. Really have that. It kind of has this little tree hanging out here with a little bit of a yellow tuft on top, but it's far away and small, and this guy down here is kind of intruding, and this photo to me is not as good an example as the one before. And this, here you go. Now I noticed that tree in the big one. Now I'm zooming in to refine it, and I guess I did a couple of these. This weirdly feels better, even though, all right, how close are these two? Yeah. So this is again discussing composition. It's like this one's at 50 millimeters. This one's at 60. So 10 millimeter difference. Very slight zoom. Hang on, I'm gonna grab my lens. Yes, I was worried this lens was gonna be the one that's living on my camera, but it's not. Here we go. So, I'm gonna real quick jump to the bigger screen. So, this is my mid-range lens. It starts at 24 millimeters and goes to 105. The entire range of its zoom is that. That's 24. That's 105. That's all it is. Here we go. So, that's 50 millimeters. As zoomed out as that is, that's 50 millimeters. That's 60. That's the difference. Like, 50, 60. It's barely a change. It's the tiniest little change to the lens. But, in zooming in a little bit, and by... Oh, didn't want to do that. I want to click on it. By losing the sky and centering that tree. That tree is not quite center there. Here it feels like it is. Now, the other thing is by getting rid of the sky is another big moment, is a big important thing, because as humans, our eyes tend to naturally flow to the brightest thing in a photo, and also and then secondarily tend to find the darkest thing. The sky here the first thing I noticed looking at this, at the thumbnail, let me go ahead and bring y'all back to Lightroom. Here we go. Now we're back. Anyway, so yeah, so looking at this photo, the sky being this bright element, when I look at this, the first thing I see is the sky and this ridgeline of trees, which is a cool thing. I've got some photos later on that really lean into it, but yeah. So you've got but like that's the first thing I see, and then I notice kind of this little brighter spot down here, where the trees which is where my subject little tree would be, but by this middle one is. I like it. I think I like this one better. But by, like I said, between the first and the last, by cropping out the sky, by just tilting my camera down, and by centering this guy here, like, we've taken a photo that feels like it's about a collection of trees and maybe something here, to a photo that feels like it's about this guy. It's this one standing out amongst the sea. And that I really like. I don't know if I think I like this. I like the wider one better, only because you see more. And also you see more without losing the effect. This feels like, and I talk a lot about context on here, that like the context of what's around a subject matters so much in terms of conveying the meaning of the subject and the meaning of just the landscape. And so, yeah, this shot feels like it's about that tree. This shot feels like it's about that tree among the crowd. And I like that. I'm going to give this one 1 star and definitely work on coming back to that one. Mountains, baby. Lots of mountains. Kebler Pass is full of mountains, and I'm still in the process of figuring out exactly which mountains, because the maps we had weren't the best, but working on it, and all of them are unquestionably pretty. I like this photo. I don't know if this photo does. What I got going on in the sky there? You know, I mean, it's fun. I do have a tendency to go for the harsher landscape kind of thing, just because I really enjoy that high contrast. That almost feels like it's hammered out of metal, which I love. But I'm keeping this one, I think, as a vacation photo. I'm not gonna flag it yes or no. I'm not gonna. If I don't flag it, it's not like I'm not. If I don't reject it, it's not gonna get deleted. But if I don't flag it, it's probably not gonna get edited beyond this. We'll see. But yeah, I really like this photo. Aaron, I don't know if I'm not seeing an audio thing on my end, but let me know. Anyone else watching, let me know if the audio is cutting in and out. Yeah, I'm not seeing. Might be peaking a little bit. That might be a thing. I'm gonna turn the mic down just a touch so that when I get excited, I'm not hitting the end of the decibel bar. But yeah, let me know. Let me know if anyone else, if it's cutting in and out. I don't know whose end it's on. If it's on my end, I hope to fix it, or hope the internet just gets its shit together. Anyway, so yeah, here's this photo. Gonna keep it, but probably not gonna go beyond this. Another rotated version that I think I was trying to make this tree here as my subject, and I don't think it totally works. Mostly because it doesn't stand out enough, and I could do some masking, but I don't particularly I think that would feel too much like I'm trying to create something that's not there. Also, this little guy down here is just a distraction, and it just kind of feels like it's photo bombing. So yeah, I'm gonna say no to that one. Oh, here we go. This now feels a little more like it belongs there. This photo feels like I've got a two towers thing going on. But I don't particularly like it as much. I don't think I think it's not as good. Like in this case, I'd rather just do, like, this photo to me feels more connected to the landscape and more complete, and not like I'm trying to make a small scene out of something that I can't. Okay, now this is better. This is a better version of that because I've added the grass, and I've got this gap between the trees, and the distance between them and the rest of the forest back here stands out a little more. What's the sky doing? Let's see. Okay, sky's being pretty up there. I'm gonna keep this. I don't know if I'm gonna come back to it. I'm gonna keep it. I'm gonna say yes to it, but I don't know if I'm gonna come back to it. All right, got a few of these, I imagine. Let's see. Yeah, I was kind of enamored with this little slope of this hillside, and the grass to trees to mountain sort of transition. Let me see, what lens was I on? Okay, I was on the 24 to 105. I was at 40 millimeters. I was trying to. Ooh, yeah, we're gonna come back to that cabin. All right, so here's our little collection of these. There's something I like about this one. I don't know what it is. Like, it feels like little intrusions of everything. It feels like the trees are kind of, you've got detail in enough of the trees so you can see them, but they also sort of you see a really smooth transition from like trees you can see the details on to trees that sort of become the forest. I like that. That might be the smoothest transition to that I've seen. Usually I'm seeing it front to back. Seeing it sideways is new. The mountain back there feels like it's kind of peeking in. The slope here feels like it's peeking in. This feels like a shot about the forest, and then it's like, you know, when you see this is exactly what everyone else is thinking about this photo. Like, you see a photograph of somebody where they've got, like, they're clearly in a group and they got their arms around people, but you can only kind of see half the people because they've cropped it to be, you know, a profile pic or something. Like, this feels like that for the trees, for the forest. This is the forest's profile pic with, like, you know, seeing a little bit of its buddies, and I like that. I think that's cool. I like this one less. This feels balanced. This feels like the mountain's trying to kind of shoulder its way in. So that's what that was. Okay, cool. So yeah, I like this one less. It just doesn't have the same balance, I feel. Same here. Weirdly enough, this one feels like now we've overcorrected. We've gone from a good balance to too much mountain to now too little mountain. Let me click back and look at the first. Yeah, I like the first one best. Keep going. All right, now it's these two. This one feels like I'm trying to make it about the slope, but I do kind of like the diagonal of, like, slope, trees, mountain, kind of sloping the other direction. I like this one better. This one, having the whole shape of the slope in there, I think is more interesting to me. And I do love my layers. I do love my layers of one thing to the next thing to the next thing, because I love being able to capture large portions of an ecosystem, or the relationships between these beautiful parts of the landscape. Yeah, this is, yeah, but I like this one better. I think this one feels like it's about the hillside, and just the beautiful hillside with that just, you know, has the forest and the mountains as its neighbors. Speaking of forest and mountains as neighbors, I love this photo. I talked a lot yesterday about being very intentional about when I have man-made structures in my landscape photos, and this is an example that I can't possibly say no to. This is gorgeous. Let me see. I've got a second one here where I zoomed in. That's also good. These are both these landscape photos, landscape in terms of orientation, are good. Let's look at the portrait versions. Also, I don't know if it's my own like personal cheekiness or what, but I really do love taking portrait-oriented photos of landscapes. I think that's it's a thing that makes me very happy to do. Let's kind of tap through these. How centered is that? Not. In order to center it, I'd have to do this, which I don't love, but I don't hate, but I also don't. It means I'm losing the mountain. Go back to the before and after. Let's see why my phone is vibrating. Anything important going on here? No. Not immediately. I got a couple Snapchat reactions from important people, but let's see. Okay, this one. I like this one. I don't like it. It's not. I don't like that it's not centered. I feel like I would have to center it. It doesn't feel interesting. Okay, what's the sky doing in this? If I was to bring the. Okay, another example of the sky just being sort of its own thing. It's not overexposed. This isn't an overexposed sky. This is a clear sky. One of those moments where, yeah, there's nothing in the sky. I can darken this down. It just turns gray. That's not a like, yeah. That's one of the reasons you will hear photographers, you know, if they're talking about like, you know, the ideal conditions to shoot. And there's some photographers who I've done webinars with who just talk about, who have like very specific, if it's not cloudy, like then your photos aren't going to be as good as they could be, and therefore don't go out. And it's like, that's every part of that sentence is untrue. You can make beautiful images with a clear sky, but you know, it'd be ridiculous of me to say that having a cool cloudy sky doesn't also enhance photographs, because it really does. Hey, Shelby Lynn, let me know if I'm having audio issues. Aaron was having them a little bit. Let me know if that's a thing on my end or hers or yours, or if it got fixed somehow. I'm not sure. Okay, let's see. Let's looking through these. I like this one. This one feels centered. It doesn't have the mountain as much in it, but it does have this road that's sort of leading us to the cabin. I like it. I think I'm a fan of that one. I think in this case I like the landscape ones better. There's a nice thing to this, not this one. Yeah. I like this one less, I think. I don't know, I could crop this down. If I had stuff going on in the sky, having nothing going on in the sky is kind of nice, because it really does. I do like having photos where you have just a blank sky and can just like intentionally, like, not crop it out, but intentionally give some of the photograph over to white space, because this photo is like, imagine if you lived in this cabin, the thing that you get is that peace and that sort of like just open space. And so having a photo where you have the cabin and then you have this, we're devoting a third of the photograph to white space just to have it, that open space. Yeah, I actually, you know, as the more I talk about this, the more I really like this photo for that reason, in terms of a good example of conveying the emotion of, like, you look at this cabin, I want to live in a cabin like this. I hope people watching, you looking at this photograph would see this as this cottagecore sort of, yeah, that'd be nice. And a thing that'd be nice about it is having that freedom and openness, and I think having that in the photograph is a good way to represent that emotion. Yeah, still this one's not quite great. This one's okay. You know, I really don't. I think the portrait ones shine when they're about space or about the little journey up there. Which actually, in hindsight, this has that road too. No, okay. I've got an answer. One of the portrait ones is good, and the rest of them are just, again, rough drafts of the same idea. Then we got the landscape ones, which I think look great. This one's a little more cabin on the thirds, mountains over there. This one's a little more center everything up. Not quite, but pretty close. I think I like this one better than the last one, but I do like them both. I think they're both cool. I'm going to keep both of them. Aaron, I'm glad the audio issue got fixed. I'm wondering if it was just, if sometimes, depending on what you're listening on and how your connection is, if my mic peaks, if I kind of hit, trying to stream audio that is hitting the ceiling, can sometimes cut out depending on how it's where it's being filtered through and what your speaker setting is. That's the internet equivalent of like going so loud you blew out the speakers. Okay, here's the other thing about Kebler Pass is there's a bunch of photos of animals that are hiding behind stuff. So we're gonna be clicking through a bunch of these real quick until we find the good ones. I don't dislike this. I like this as a vacation photo. I'm not gonna necessarily keep it. We have two stags here. I don't know if you could see. You can see sort of see in this photo. We've got one guy here and one guy down here. But yeah, let's see. Yeah, here's another one where you can kind of see. These photos are also are a little bit blurry. What am I shooting at? I'm shooting at 1/160th of a second, and I've got my giant lens out, so that's like it's heavy. Like the heavier the lens, the quicker you want your shutter speed to be, because like the heavier the lens, the more your hands are gonna be, shaking a little bit, so or more room for error there is in there. So yeah, these photos I like. I like them. I'm gonna keep a couple. I like this one better than the first one. I like being able to see both of the deer. Let's see what else we got. Kept waiting for these two to peek their heads up. That one's just out of focus. But I like that you can see both sets of antlers. I think that's cute. Let's see. Same deal here. There we go. Now we're in focus. Now we've got some good contour, some real good lighting on the shadowing on the shading on these on the velvet on that guy. I like this one. This one I'm gonna keep. Let's see what else we got. Ooh, there we go. We got two faces. Got two blurry faces, but we have two faces. I'm gonna keep this one for my own personal reasons because I like that. I think that's cute. I'm gonna keep that as a vacation photo. Once again, they stick their heads back down and my shots get better. But the last one we had was better. And it's also encountered a bunch of stags. Oh, there it is. There's the face. Look at that one. That's so cute. Look at it. And I'm sure, these are manly men. They don't need to hear me going, "Oh, look, you're so cute." Especially because this one's antlers are not as big as this one, so this one is probably feeling a little bit of an inadequacy. Why am I applying like specifically toxic human 21st century traits to deer that have absolutely no interest in any of this? Because that's the entire industry of nature documentary. But yeah, that's adorable. I really love that face. And again, like this is a photo that I might actually do something with. Gonna need to crop it in. It's right now it's a little like I like the context of having them surrounded by all this foliage is cool. It is also this might be one of those examples where it's too much context. Like I'm gonna crop that in. Not quite to this close, I don't think. This is only cropping in a quarter, but I'm gonna crop it in. I'm gonna keep this one. This one's very, very cute. This one's more centered and slightly softer focus, I think. Yeah, it's hard to tell when we jump back 5 photos at once. Gotta figure out what's going on with my controller. But yeah, there's that one. We like that one. This one, yeah, the difference is they're centered, which also makes for a good photo. Let's keep that one of those two, or who knows? Maybe this next one will probably be the thing. Now I'm sitting here feeling this first one is like, okay, I'm in pictures. I'm gonna sit up. This back one is like I'm still doing my thing. You can't get me to sit up for a photo. I'm not a puppy. I like the centered one better. Yeah, this might be a rule of thirds thing, but yeah, I don't like this one as much as I like the other ones. Now we've overcorrected. We've centered our one who's sticking his head up, and put this guy kind of back on a third. And we've talked a lot about trying to center a photo when the thing you're trying to center it on is not exactly symmetrical, and how sometimes what ends up feeling like a symmetrical or a correctly centered photo is the actual center point is off center. yeah, this photo feels like that. We have centered this deer, and by centering this deer, we've made the entire photo feel off center because of this guy back here. So, not this photo. Not this one either, even though it is. I'm doing a better job of making this. I think at some point I just decided that deer was the subject, and the one in the background just wasn't having it. So it's like, all right, whatever. Man, this guy was just. I had to have been. I'm curious how long I was clicking away on how far apart these photos were taken. This is probably we're going through these photos like I probably took these photos like, like within the same minute. Out of focus, and this is me just really hoping that deer's gonna perk his head up. Oh, look, there it is. Looking the wrong way, but definitely perking his head up. I'm keeping that one as a vacation photo. I like that. All right, now we're looking the right way, but we got bushes in the way. Something kind of cute about it though. I love the way the light is playing on the. It's out of focus too, but I love the way the light is playing on those antlers. Especially when they're still velveted up. Same thing. That one's actually. Did I catch? Okay, I'm keeping this photo for this specific reason. Is that this little bit of leaf here looks like it's reflecting light, and so it looks like if I zoom in this much, looks like the pupil. Looks like the light in this. That reflected pin of light in the center of someone's eye. That's just a cool thing to have captured. I like that. And did it again, and here you'll notice we don't have it, or if we do, it's covered, and it's not as this is the thing. Anyone who's a filmmaker, a cinematographer, you'll hear eye light talked about a lot, and it's just notice the difference between the way the deer looks here, and the way he looks here. Like that little bit of something in your eye that we're used to seeing when it's a reflected light, I feel like gives you so much. You feel like we're so used to this is the reason we have ring lights. This is the reason we have lights around cameras now, is because that pinprick of light in someone's eye, we have been conditioned to feel like, oh, that's what makes someone feel alive. And so yes, it's a it's a weird gimmick, it's a weird thing that's happened, but it is it's a weird just thing. There's not really any basis in reality other than just that's what we've 150 years of photography, film, and then centuries of painters before it. We found that to be a shorthand for life and vibrance, and so when it happens with an animal, it does make us connect with them a little better. So it's cool to have. All right, here we go. Street and mountains. Several of these. This is another one. I was intentionally trying to get a car in there because I thought, having a car going down the road gives you a subject for it. Yeah, I sat here and took this photo a bunch. That's the thing about Kebler Pass, is that I took photos of a bunch of the same things, and we can blow through a lot of them. I think we're actually making a lot of progress, given that we've only been streaming for 45 minutes. Yeah, I'm excited to see what I can do with that sky. Look at the streaks of cloud we're gonna get when we dehaze this. Even putting it in color. Ooh, look at the color on the mountains that popped out. That's excellent. We're gonna have a blast with this one. We're gonna have a blast with any of these. Let's go ahead and pick a framing. Okay, a little wider. I think I like the wider one better right now. That's where I'm at. Oop, nope, we already. All right, one thing at a time. My controller just insisting on jumping back several photos. We're gonna keep this. We're going to say no to this one. This one doesn't. Again, context I think helps. Zooming in even more? Doesn't look like on the thumb. That feels. As someone who professionally tilts their camera to get weird angles, this shot feels off kilter, in a bad way. I don't hate this car. I'm curious. Anybody want to look up a license plate? Nah, it's a temporary plate. All right. yeah, as someone who's not intentionally trying to shoot a commercial for Dodge, I like this. The placement of the car is cool. I'm going to keep this. I don't know if it's going to go beyond this stage. It's not going to be one of the first ones I want to edit. It's honestly what's probably going to happen is it's going to hang out. It'll hang out on here until the opportunity comes along where someone's like, do you want to shoot a car commercial? Have you ever done that? And I will go back through all my photos and be like, yep, here's a car, here's a car, here's a car, and this is one of them. Come back to that. Huh. I have an idea for this one. I'll crop this. If I crop out most of the road, I crop up this and I lose those 2 trees. No, it loses the impact. I don't think it's as good. Like, yeah, doesn't work for me. Moving on. Next. Yeah, I think again, car. I think the good one with the car is the car heading into the adventure as opposed to the car just sort of being halfway through the trip. And we're back to the open road. Let's compare it to the one to the favorite so far. This one's next. I gotta turn off before and after for a second. Just compare these two. It's interesting how much, like, a slight change in lighting makes it feel like you're going somewhere totally different. Because, like, this is a little bit darker, and my composition changed a bit. Now I feel like I'm going specifically to this mountain, and the one with the snow caps in the back kind of gets overshadowed. Maybe. Let me look at these last couple. All right, that one's better than this. That one's better than this one. Is it, though? No, I take that back. I'm gonna switch this one to a pick. I'm liking this one. I like the way the road kind of blasts into the shot. I like this might be my favorite one. Like the best one with the road in it is my current thought. I do still like this one though. This one does feels more complete. This one feels like the road is more the subject. This one feels like the road is in equal prominence with everything. And I don't know if that's good or bad because it does kind of leave the photo without a subject. But that might be okay. I'm going to keep those. I'm going to keep a few of these and, probably end up editing one of them. We'll see. I do love it. I'm like, this is the thing. Again, we're picking out all these photos. There's only going to be a handful of them that actually make it to final edit and publication. But, and of those, there's probably going to be one. I'm picturing probably one good, like, road going into the mountain shot. I feel like I'm going to be more sparing with that. But, like, yeah, I think it's in the running that it could be one of these. That one is growing on me. This one, growing on me less, honestly. We'll see. This one kind of feels like it's in the same vein as this one. These last two, where it's like there's not really all the elements are there, but none of them really stick out. So it just feels like a picture of, rather than a picture about, rather than taking you on a journey. Oh, let's see. Mountain with trees in front of it. Man, I'm sorry. I'm 49 minutes into this and already sounding jaded. How many of these did I do? So I sort of refined the shots. There is an upcoming shot with trees in the foreground and the mountain in the background, and it's going to be, like, it's a shot that I really, really, really like. Not quite like this. We're shooting through the trees on that one, but... Okay, none of these are really doing a lot for me. They feel like we're about a place, or looking at a place rather than about it. This one's probably the best of them. This one, not so much. I'm very on the fence about finding the moment for when there's trees on the side of a frame like that, where it's because on the one hand it's like it feels kind of like, yeah, we're connecting to everything and everything's sort of, in the photo. On the other hand, it kind of has the, like, this is a Christmas card border, which I try to avoid, and I don't love this. This one I'm going to keep. I'm going to keep it as a vacation photo more than a photo I want to edit, but I'm going to keep it. I like, especially in black and white, the contrast of the light. I'll probably crop out pretty much the bottom, like, quarter of this, maybe bottom fifth. And, like, I like the white grass, or the lighter colored grass. It's not actually white, obviously. The lighter colored grass, the darker trees, the dark-ish mountain, and the brighter sky. I like that as a, I've talked to myself, we're going to keep that as a pick. Next. All right, now we're zooming in. Now we're making a photo that feels more about... There's the photo I just said I was going to crop the wider one. This is what I was talking about. The wider one will be a better version of this, so we're going to say no to it. This one, now we're coming in on details. I like this. I like this more. Sometimes it's not about changing your location so much as it's about just changing your... Honestly, more often than not, it's about changing your composition versus changing your location. This photo felt like going back to one of these, like... This photo felt like it had too much going on. This photo has decided this is what this photo is about. And I like that. I do love mountaintops. A part of me is like, is it interesting to crop that to just something like this? Where you just get... No, it's not. It's less interesting. Less interesting because that mountain is framed up real nice. I'm going to keep that. I'm going to keep that, and I'm going to really love that one. Alright, well, if anyone wants to hire me to shoot a car commercial, apparently I'm auditioning. There's a photo coming up later. I think I got it with someone who was driving. And again, like I said, Kebler Pass is on and off, paved and unpaved. This is the same spot. I just turned sideways to shoot the other ones. Okay, so as I was waiting for a second car. How long did we spend at this spot? Again, it looks like we moved right after this, which is good. Man, I didn't realize how long we spent on the side of the road taking photos of these mountains and this road. Yeah, I don't like this photo as much as the last one, I don't think. Alright, hang on. Of these, I like this one the best. Let's start with that. Yeah, once the car kind of gets further away, it starts being somewhat less interesting to me. That one I like. Okay, there's a limit. I like the car when it's close, and I like the car when it's further away. That gives it that makes it feel like it's part of the landscape versus being a story about, look at this pretty backdrop and focus on the man-made machine in front of it. Like, nah, I like it. If we're gonna do this where it's a shot about the car and the landscape, or we're gonna do this where it's a shot about the car in the landscape. Those are the two. I think this one's better. But yeah, apparently, anyway, I was saying I think there's one more shot coming up of a car that I had fun with because, like I said, Kebler Pass, a good chunk of it is unpaved. It's a fairly rough road, and so we've seen two different, like, vans and SUVs. We were in a Jeep, going through this. Or yes, we were in an Equinox for this part of the trip. But like, we've seen cars that seem appropriate. There is a shot later on. I think I at least have it. I don't think it's a good shot, but there's a shot later on of someone who did this drive in a red convertible, and I thought that was funny. All right, I like this photo. I don't know if I like it better in black and white or in color. I did a couple of these. I like that one better. I like the tilt on this one is a little bit... It's not too aggressive, but I like this one, I think, accomplishes the same thing. Being a little further back gives the mountain a little more of a... Weirdly, a little more of a presence. Like, I don't know. Yeah, feels like it gives it a little more of a presence. Why are we doing this? This controller is very sensitive today. Very sensitive in general. I gotta work on that. But yeah, I like that one. Easy decision. Took two photos. Picked the one that connects with me. All right, here we go. Mountain peeking over the edge of a forest. Apparently, That's the other thing, is that sometimes you can tell when I saw a photo and I was like, yep, I found that one. Boom, boom, 2 shots, I got it. And then other times you can see me sort of like, how do I make a photograph out of this? Oh, here we go. We're gonna do some wildflowers in a second. Let's take a look through these though. As much as again, I love my layers. I love my relationship between mountain to forest to sky to whatever. And I love this slash of forest kind of covering up that first kind of half of the photo. I don't love the rest of it. I don't think the composition's as good. This feels better, weirdly enough. It feels like it's a bit much. I could crop this and get the photo I kind of want. I also don't love this little branch here, but that's... Maybe. That's the other thing that I end up doing when I'm sitting here going through all of these photos. Is I start nitpicking nature and being like, why is this branch here? Who gave it the right to be in my... And it's like, that's the same energy as the people who go to Yellowstone and are like, I get that it's very, very pretty, but why aren't there hotels here? Like, it's not what I'm trying to do. And like, it's easy when just surrounded, looking at all this beautiful nature, and like I'm now nitpicking it for a purpose to choose it. But like, you know, please don't leave this stream thinking I don't love this tree. I do love this tree. It's just if I need to make a photograph of it, I may have to, you know, try to make it less noticeable, which translates to edit it out. Yeah, I like this one. I like this one. Let's see. This is getting closer to the photo I think I was trying to take in the first. Yeah, that's too much sky. I'm correcting down because I felt like it was too much sky. Now I'm come down to the there's you know, find the right amount. Again, for some reason having the the slash of trees in the middle is not working for me. And this feels like I'm off center, so I'm tilted. And then I went with too much sky, which makes this photo more about the mountain, less about the relationships. Happy to not worry about that. Okay, next, this is a rough draft. This photo does very little for me, but worth noting. Take a look down here. We have our first peek at some aspen trees. These guys. A lot of this forest. Again, it's Colorado. We are in the vicinity of Aspen, Colorado. So it is where we think of when we think of aspen trees. But a lot of everything we've been looking at so far, for the most part, has been conifers. Those are still back here. Here's our first like big grove of aspen trees, and you can recognize them apart from just the fluffy nature of their canopy, but also the bright white trunks that they have, the kind of thin white trunks. I'm bringing that up now because it's going to be important later. This photo, however, is not. Because now we're going to take some photos with focusing on some flowers. Again, I know where this is going. I can see where this is going. This one's also a rough draft. This is closer to where this is going. Did I switch lenses? I feel like I switched lenses. No, I just zoomed out. Okay, this is my wide lens at its most zoomed in. This is 22 millimeters. This is at 14, so it's much wider. So let me go through this. Again, I know I do have some much better photos of flowers with the mountains coming up. Let's see how this looks once it sort of clicks into focus. Okay. Looks good. I like the thumbnail for this one. Like the sort of tilt. I'm a fan of that. I'm going to keep that one. And this is a moment where being in black and white definitely helps, because in color, yeah, you notice the white and you see the mountain and the sky, but like it's a sea of green, and the white doesn't peek out. In the black and white, because this is all gray, the white really pops in a way that I really like. Let's see which of these is better. Yeah, it's probably that third one, but like, okay, I like that one better than I like this one. And then pushing in, I like this one a lot. I like this one a little less. This is another moment of the actual centering line is, this feels more centered, even though this is probably technically more centered. That feels more centered. Also, just a quick chat about, like, again, zooming on lenses. Like, this is 22 millimeters. This is zoomed in, and it feels like, you know, and you've, like, the mountain feels bigger. The forest feels like it's right up against the mountain. This field is kind of a long stretch, but this feels close. This one here, the mountain, and like this all feels so much further away, because we've zoomed out and we've gone to the wider lens has gotten, you know, when we go wider, we exaggerate distance. Okay, so we've picked out a couple of these. That one's good. This one's good. Better one's coming. All right, there we go. There's another grove of aspens. There's not aspens. I take it back. Those are conifers that are dead. Still interesting. How many of these photos? How many of this spot did I take? A few. I was I was enamored with the sky right at this moment. Let's see. That is cool. I actually kind of like that. I like this less. I like this less. Hang on a sec. If I bring the highlights down and get a little bit of a thing going. Nope, still like it less. You're losing the mountain entirely. Here, maybe? Let me see what's going on in the sky. No, that photo's not really doing a whole lot for me. This one is, and the difference is we got talked about having too much sky in certain things. In this case, like, having the sky be just this big, and also having... I zoomed in way too much for this to make this point. Still zoomed in too much to make this point. Here we go. 20. All right. We talked yesterday about being on landscapes where you can see such distances, you can see storms. You're seeing a storm right here. If I increase the contrast or the dehaze a little bit. Yeah, there we go. Okay, cool. So you were seeing a storm. You were seeing, like, we got these clouds. We got these two patches of lighter cloud, but you can see like water, like rain falling on the mountain, and it's centered, and that's cool. So yes, this is a photo I'm definitely keeping for that reason. Also, just adding more sky to it. Like, like the sky feels like a character here, and unlike the photo earlier of the cottage where you had the like big empty sky and with nothing in it, and that made the photo feel, the big sky made the photo feel more open and freeing, which is the feeling you want for a mountain cabin. Here, having the big, the sky with the tumultuous clouds and the rain and everything, with the mountain, I think really does connect with, really does add to the kind of the complexity of the landscape and the texture of the landscape. And I'm a very big fan of this. I'm giving it a star. I'm probably coming back to it. Next, look at this thing. This weird. Oh, hang on. Are we coming up on? Okay, I know we're coming up on. Got another animal coming up. Allegedly. Yeah, you'll see it. Okay, this thing. This was me kind of searching for ideas. Interested in what this is. Gonna keep one of these as a vacation shot. Not particularly sure what it is. So, gonna figure that out. I like this one better than the first one. I'll get rid of that. But yeah, this photo isn't doing a whole lot for me artistically at the moment. We'll see. Okay, here we go. This is a clump of grass. And therefore not a good photo. This is the moose that was in the clump of grass, and therefore more interesting. This is a cow moose, female moose. It is always bizarre that we if you just say bull and cow, we think of specific animals, and even technically bull and cow are gendered, but cow has kind of become the overall term for all of that type of creature. But bull and cow are also the terms used for male and female of the species in terms of a lot of large ungulates, and especially moose. So to say this is a cow moose is to say this is a female moose, who is out of focus. And also, again, he's not watching. He has other things to do with his time. Oh, look at the again. All right, let's talk about light. Let's talk about eye shine for a second. Look at it's out of focus. Who cares? Look at the light in her eye. The light in her eye. Zoom back out. Gives. It's better focus, but that gives so much more personality to her. Because just that's the sky reflecting because she's looking up a little bit. But yeah, the light in her eye just gives so much more personality. We're keeping that one because she's cute. And yeah, cuteness is we often that eye light and that little bit of a thing that I see in people, I see in an animal is a thing that makes it cute, because I don't know, deep down we connect with what the things that we identify as human. And I don't know, Da Vinci theorized that the thing that attracts us most is ourselves. Who knows? Again, as I was saying, he's not watching this. My brother Steven has other doctor of physics related things to do with his time. But, I would lose probably 2/3 of the animal shots on this trip, if not for his just exceptionally good animal spotting ability. And this moose is one that he saw. I don't know how he saw her. From up on a ridge, but yes, he saw her. He saw her moving. That's pretty much the only way you get to see a moose. You see animals as you look out for movement. Yeah, saw her moving, and I actually kind of like that one. Just the sort of head peeking through the trees. This is also wild that this is a moose are in the running for the largest animal on the continent, and and she can almost completely disappear in this tall grass. It makes you very cognizant of what else might be out there, and of how rarely you're actually alone in nature. Look at her. Look at those ears. Oh man, this is one of those things where it's like everyone's got their, like, I say everyone. This might be me telling myself, but like we have this, like, oh my god, like, you know, oh, if I see a bear, why if bear not friend, why bear friend shaped? We have that whole thing, and yet this is also my 600mm. This is my giant lens, and I'm zoomed all the way in, trying to get shots of her. Yeah, she is still a good. Ooh, there's a little bit of light in her eye there. That's a good picture. Yeah, she is still several hundred feet away from me. But like, yeah, no, the whole if bear not friend, why friend shaped, and like, yeah, you want to, like, they're cute and you want to pet them. Like, I'm that way with a moose. I would really love to pet a moose, but I'm also, like, unfortunately smart enough to know that's a dumb idea. It's a really dumb idea. I like a lot of these. They're just cute. It's just cool getting to see a moose. All right, here we go. We're gonna take a break. We're gonna take a quick little moose thing. First of all, fun moose facts. Step 1, do not pet them. They are, like, at their, you know, on average more than 1,000 pounds of weight, and it's 1,000 pounds of muscle, and they are and that 1,000 pounds is balanced on 4 very spindly legs, which means 2 things. It means, 1, if they moose, the way moose hurt you is they trample you. They do, like, the bull moose with the big antlers, probably not using them on you. If a bull moose decides that you're a problem, it's going to chase you and step on you. And like, you think 1,000 pounds of force, like, you think 1,000 pounds of force hurts on its own? 1,000 pounds, like narrowed down and coming to you on a hoof the size of, like, 2 hands that have sharp points, that's absolutely horrible. That's the first reason why don't pet moose. Second reason why don't pet moose, or second reason why 1,000 pounds of moose on 4 spindly legs matters is if you were to hit a moose with your car. Here's a horrifying fun fact. If you hit a moose with your car, it is one of the worst possible animal. It is probably the worst possible animal to hit with your car, because you will hit the legs, but the legs are so thin that they do not trigger most airbags. So you are going to hit this thing, you are going to knock it down, you are going to have 1,000+ pounds of moose coming through your windshield, and your airbag is not deploying. Yeah, do not. Yeah, moose are adorable and also just wildly just very dangerous to people. Do not get close to moose, and like, I'm just saying, do not get close to moose. There might be specific circumstances, but I'm not going to suggest any of them. Additionally, fun fact, because moose wildly are also fairly aquatic. They tend to, like, they do a lot of diving and swimming. They eat a lot of water plants. One of the moose's only natural predators is the orca. Like, that's just a cool fun fact about that. Anyway, this is yeah, no, I'm absolutely trying to convince myself not to get close to the moose, and you will notice I am still here and managed to survive this trip without getting close to the moose. However, it's a struggle. Anyway, on the flip side, these are sheep. I am perplexed by these sheep. I do not know why they are here. There was throughout a lot of. Oh, there we go. That's coming up. That's the next one. We got just a string of animals here, which is great. I have 2 photos of these sheep because I was just. This is less about wanting photos of sheep, because these aren't bighorn sheep that you would expect to find in the mountains. These are just sheep. These are your standard, like, grazing sheep. Look at that one being all majestic and stuff. And look at this little baby down here. Like, yeah, there's too many sheep. We don't know why they were here. There are, driving through Colorado, you drive through a lot of, like, mountainous, there's the word, mountainous passes that have, like, where areas are sectioned off and it's farmland and it's been clear cut, and they've got cows and stuff. Like, hanging out on slopes and things. You don't, like, it's Kebler Pass doesn't have that, so it was very bizarre to just come across a legit herd of sheep, and not that do not look like wild sheep. Also, more aspens. This is still, this is foreshadowing for later. But more importantly, we are going to switch. Yeah, there's a sheepdog out there getting fired right now for just not losing track, of the group, and letting them go on vacation in Kebler Pass and eat a whole bunch of wildflowers. Which, let's be fair, it's really cute. But yeah, it was a very fun moment of us like driving through, and like we just saw the moose and we were like, that was so cool, we saw a moose, I wonder what's next. And we look over and Steven goes, look, there's sheep. And we look over all excited, being like, bighorn sheep? And it's a herd of sheep. It was very confusing. And then we kept driving while we were still perplexed by the sheep. We look out and we see this marmot. This marmot who absolutely understands the movie he's in, or she, I'm not sure. Marmots are adorable. Marmots are type of ground squirrel. They are in the same category as prairie dogs. Fun fact, so ground squirrel is an overall category. It is like, it's what its name implies. It is a squirrel-type creature that it primarily lives on the ground as opposed to being in trees. There are things that are ground squirrels that look exactly like, the typical tree squirrel, but just they don't do the climbing as much. But then there are stuff like these guys who wear I don't know if groundhogs are technically part of ground squirrels, or if they end up closer to muskrats and beavers. Muskrats and beavers. I'm not sure, but yeah, no, we looked it up in terms of like our prairie dogs, ground squirrels, because we saw prairie dogs right as we got off the flight. They were in the airport. They were flying to Tucson, so different things. But yeah, vacation. Everyone takes a vacation, but. No, we saw prairie dogs, and we looked it up, and prairie dogs are kind of between 1 and 4 pounds. Ground squirrels, as an overall category, can be between half a pound to 24 pounds. And we were trying to figure out what on earth is a 24-pound ground squirrel, and the answer is, it's a marmot. This is a marmot. I like this photo of this marmot. I'm going to keep this photo, but there are better photos coming, because this dude posed. This dude saw us trying to peer through bushes and see a moose, and decided, no, let me show you how this is done. I'm gonna Little Mermaid the fuck out of this and get up on this thing. Hang on a second. We're gonna keep going. There we go. There's a face. Look at that face. Look at that marmot. Yellow-bellied marmot. You can tell from the lighter colors of his coat. Yeah, these guys are all over Colorado. We saw them in Rocky Mountain National Park. I've got a photo from Rocky Mountain National Park of a marmot that, like, this is my 600mm lens. This is zoomed all the way in. I have a photo of a marmot from Rocky Mountain National Park it is a closer shot of him, and I took it on this lens because he was just too friendly. He just got way up in there. I'm going to go through all these marmot pictures real quick, and then I will go through and pick the good ones, because I took a bunch of photos of this marmot. Look at him. He's so good. And look at this. Look at this guy. Like, just, like, you tell actors, especially like on stage, is like, go out there, find your light. When you find that moment where the lighting hits you right, and you can, if you're good at it, you can kind of figure out, okay, here's where I need to stand. I can feel the light hitting me correctly, and I know I'm in the right spot, hitting my mark. This dude found, or male or female, not sure. This one found their light. Look at this. This is I don't know if I need to edit this. This is just, look at this guy, just totally killing it. Yeah, no, he's, like, again, professional. Posing, just doing his thing. This first one's better than the second one because we got a little bit more flowers. Oh, there we go. Now we're doing, now show me something different. Now we're going to do the dramatic head turn. And just also hold that pose. Just really just feeling it. Just letting the moment capture. I'm talking to this marmot the way that, like, if any of my family members end up watching this, they will probably confirm I was talking to this marmot the way you see, like, photographers in, like, bad Law and Order episodes talking to models, where they'd just be like, yes, show me this, show me that. Oh my god, you're an animal. You're adorable. You're feeling it. Like, I was absolutely talking to this marmot this way. Look at him. He's cleaning himself. Like, again, I keep like heteronormatizing and masculine personifying this Marmot. I don't care. He's so fucking cute. Doing it again. Almost looks like he's picking his nose there. That's cool. We all do it. I'm keeping almost all these photos because of how cute this Marmot is. Let me go ahead and finish rotating all these, and then we'll. There he is. We got a front shot. Marmots. I think my camera focused on the wrong thing on there. Where's my focus pointers? This is just blurry. I got excited because he turned and faced us. Is this one better? Better. Not perfect, but better. Marmots do kind of fall into the same category as bald eagles, where they look substantially more impressive from the side than from the front. From the front, he looks a little bit dopey. A little bit, like... Which also makes sense, because his eyes are designed to, like, his... like, you see this a lot with... I believe marmots are somewhat omnivorous. But you see this with prey animals versus predators. Whereas predator animals tend to have the front-focused eyes so they can lock onto a target and go. Prey animals tend to have the side-focused eyes so that they can get a wider view of the landscape. And yeah, so you can get a wider view of the landscape and see the whole and look out for predators. I feel like this Marmot is kind of doing that. I feel like this is probably the best picture of him looking forward. This one's also pretty good, though. What's my focus? I feel my focus is a little bit off. Focus is definitely better on that last one, so we're going to keep that, and I'll adjust as I need to. If I end up editing, I probably will end up editing at least one of these. This is too cute not to edit. But, yeah, and, like, you know, like, you can still... There's exceptions to that, like, alligators, for instance. Like, their eyes are kind of on that 45-degree angle thing, but, like, you don't often see an alligator from the front. You often see them from the side, and you can see the eyes. If you're curious, that's also why cats have, like, the vertical pupils and goats have the horizontal ones, because the horizontal pupil gives you a good gives you a wider viewpoint, and the vertical one helps you kind of tunnel vision. That's why that's a thing. And us having round pupils it's a really pretty photo. Look at this guy. He's just great. Us having round pupils is the omnivore. We sort of do both. That's why. Just such a precious animal. Absolutely, like, yeah, giving me profiles, giving me 45s. This is such an excellent animal, such a good Marmot. I want to keep all these. I'm such a fan of this Marmot. I like that one less. I think in this case, I think more flowers leading up to the Marmot is better. This one versus this one. Kind of put him on a third there versus here where I centered him. I think centering is better. Nope. This is the moment where I'm like, do I center his head or do I center his body? Centering his head is this, but the photo ends up looking kind of off center for that same reason. I don't love him looking away. I mean, obviously, it's like he's cuter when he's looking at me. Now we're back to the sheep. I'm going to keep this one as the first one because it's as a vacation picture, just because, like, oh man, when we noticed this Marmot for the first time, it was kind of like, wow, he's just... That realization of this Marmot is putting on a show for us was so great. Just... and I'm saying this, I have no idea if this Marmot even knew we existed. I think at this point he probably did, because we had stopped the car and we were talking about him. But yeah, no, just living his best Marmot life. Okay, now we're going to talk about aspen trees. This is what we've all been waiting for. It's not, I apologize, we're off of animals for a bit. I think we're off of animals until Maroon Bells. No, I take it back. We have a couple surprise animals on the Crystal Jeep tour that we didn't expect, that our tour guide didn't expect. I don't think we're getting there today. We'll get there on the next stream, probably tomorrow. Yeah, the Crystal Jeep tour. We asked a question about a certain type of wildlife and, like, how often do you see them? And he said we don't. They're not out here. You will almost never see them. And then again, my brother and his insane spotting abilities, we saw them, and I have no idea if the pictures from that are any good, because, like, we didn't see him close, and I got the big lens, and I'm like, hands are trying to hold this thing steady in a Jeep that's going over rocky terrain, trying to get photos of something way up on a ridge. But we do have that to look forward to tomorrow. So for now, we're gonna have some fun with some aspen trees. Let's see. I like the second one better than the first here. This one's okay. I like this one better. We center up. I kept trying. I really, really love. Obviously, like this is not a hot take at all. Like I love the white pines or the white poles of the aspen trunks of the aspen trees. Like it's such a striking visual. It's so cool. You so rarely see that like stark whiteness in nature. And so I was like, all right, I want to try to get some photos that really kind of showcase the aspen trees. I think this photo is a good start. I think this photo, because the aspen trees are like it ends up highlighting the one conifer tree back there as opposed to the aspens. I still think it's a good photo. It doesn't quite hit where I want, but we're getting there. I like this one. We're gonna keep it. Aspens and ferns. It's pretty. I don't know if it's. I feel like it's weird just again seeing just the trunks and not actually seeing any of the trees. I might keep this as a vacation photo because I do kind of like it a little bit. Here we go. Okay, now then I switched lenses. So yeah, this is my 24mm lens. This is this guy zoomed out as far as I could go. Then I switched to the wide lens. Now we're at 10mm. It's not this photo. No, it's not this photo yet. We're gonna get there. Here we go. Now I figured out. Okay, aim the camera up. Yes. Nope. There we go. This is what we had. All right. Not this one either. Fun fact. I'm going to talk a little. We can see a lot of aspen trees, and you see a lot. Might notice a lot of aspen trees tend to be like this photo is on an angle, but like this dude here. That's zoomed in too much. This dude here, that's on this tilt. And you'll see if you see aspens, you will see a lot where the trunk sort of like seems like it sort of kind of curves down and then comes up. They got some little wiggle to them. The reason for that is if they're aspens, one of the reasons that aspens thrive in this type of environment is that they can grow on slopes. They can grow on mountains. They can grow on. They don't need flat terrain at all. But because they're surrounded by mountains, when the snow melts and when it rains, water runs down those slopes from the mountain. So you get these huge amounts of water. And if you're a baby aspen tree, that water is kind of sort of knocking you over and uprooting you. And then when it's done, you keep growing up. You don't reset. You just, your trunk just turns and you grow up. So you end up with a lot of aspen trees that have kind of this curl to them. Some that have like a really substantial curl. Okay, aspen. Yeah, I did a bunch of this trying to find the right one. Trying to catch that like. I'm looking up here at the small thing because it's like the void of the sky in the center is really what I think is going to connect me with this photo. I like that one. I like that you can see the whole tree. I like the whole tree. If I rotate this, yeah, there's something to that both ways. I'm going to keep that one, absolutely. Same thing here. Not as good. I don't know. I like that on this one you can see the forest floor. You can see kind of the bottom of the tree. I like that. I don't like this as much. I do like it, though. I'm going to keep it, but I'm going to throw a star on this one so I know that it's the one that I was connecting with the most. This one sideways. Ooh, that one actually might be better sideways because it is... this gets... Sorry, aspen tree. Sorry, picture number 154. You were good, but unfortunately I think 153 kind of has you beat. Let's see if 152 beats 153. But yeah, like... I like that. This feels like it's one of those again where I'm wrong direction. Where I'm sort of honoring the like it's this and shooting with a wide angle lens on a landscape. Like think about wide angle lenses. And one of the reasons we talk like if you see in films like they will often use a wide angle close up as an off putting thing because like a wide angle lens is technically like I forget exactly if our eyes are like the closest lens to our eyes is somewhere between 24 and 35. I've heard 35, I've heard 24, I've heard 35 from filmmakers and 24 from photographers, so who knows. I've heard some people say 50. So somewhere in that range is the closest to our eyes. So it's hard to, like, this is not a perspective you will really, you kind of have to get yourself in a weird position and sort of unfocus your eyes to be able to see this, see an aspen tree in this way in the real world. But this, again, I keep rotating these things the wrong way. This does, I think, do a good job of replicating the feeling of looking up at this aspen forest. Like, I really think there's something that, ooh, that might be the one. I was going for center, but that feels like it's got a movement to it. I like that one a lot. Guys, this is a problem. I keep doing this. Does this look good upside down? No, this looks upside down. There's a difference. No, not this one. Ooh. I freaking love, and this is the same thing, but just, yeah, it's not as complete. I don't think. I think this one feels. I like both. I'm keeping both. Both 1 star. Come back to both. But yeah, just ooh, seeing that. This to me feels like this one. I think is the closest. This one or this one is the closest to being like, yep, that's what it feels like to look up at this aspen forest, which is pretty powerful. All right, and we're keeping this one. Yeah, because I like it. That's enough for a reason. More aspen trees, just kind of a collection of them. Not doing a whole lot for me other than just sort of. The other interesting thing about aspens is they tend to space out, which is kind of cool because they've got those big canopies. If they were too close together, they're already kind of like filling up space and crowding each other because that's how nature works. But like, if they were too close together, they wouldn't be able to have those canopies, and so they at the top, like if you, let's see. Yeah, here you can see kind of how little space is between all the canopies up here, but because the canopy is fluffy and the trunk is skinny, you end up with a lot of even spacing down below. So where were we? So yes, we've got. I thought that was cool. It didn't really connect with me in a photographic way yet. I was trying to find that shot where you have one tree close to us and then a whole forest of them behind, and then kind of that one tree is your sort of entry point into it. You get to know one member of the population, and that positive association applies to the rest of the population. There's something about this one. Something about this one that I like. I don't know if it's an edit. I don't know if it's going to go beyond just selection, and probably not going to go to editing. But I do like it. I like it. I like this one less. Remember I said yesterday, I was talking, and I think the day before, I was talking about when you make a photograph, when you find something you really like, you take a picture of it, and then immediately turn around and see what's behind you, because so often when you're tunnel visioned on a photo, you're missing you miss what's around you, and you should take time to honor that as well. This is the exception that proves the rule. I turned around and I don't love this. I don't know what this photo was supposed to be. Beavers. And you're going, no, Eric, that's a flower. But it is evidence of beavers, because the tree behind it has been gnawed through. And there were a bunch of these. I don't know why I took this photo. It's gonna haunt me. I'm keeping this. I like it, but it is. There was a beaver dam nearby. This is Steven. Again, I don't have any photos of beavers because I was taking photos. Steven went out and found some maroon bells, but at that point it was nighttime, and he's got videos on his phone that are absolutely adorable, which is the best way to capture those beavers at the time. But we did find a beaver dam here, and so Steven was he was over kind of keeping an eye on it to see if they showed up, and I was going off a few paces in the woods to take photos, but I'm surrounded by evidence of beavers, which was very cool. There's another photo that I did of the same thing. I don't know which one I like better. I like both. I'm going to keep both. I feel like this is the kind of photo that, like, somewhere out there is, like, a beaver enthusiast who will be like, yes, this is the photo I want. And we're back to aspens. Looking, honestly, kind of menacing. I did like 2 of these. I like the wider one. I think the wider one kind of, in my head, I sort of naturally kind of move to the center, and in the center there's sort of this little V. So I think this photo does kind of guide me through it in color more than in black and white. This one doesn't feel like it does it as well. The V is more noticeable, but the rest of it feels like it's a little more of a jumble. Same thing here. I'm trying to make this my subject, but this is closer. Here we go. This is better. Also, aspen trees, just because so many of these knots just end up looking like eyes. It became a really fun like centering point for. All right, I like this one. I don't like this one, and I do like this one. And we're going to talk about this one real quick because both shot at 105, 102. So yeah, these are both shot at the same lens, same position, just slight adjustment in what's behind me, and like. I think here I'm higher up looking down, and then here I kind of came in closer and tilted up, so I lose the ground, and it makes we just fill in the background with this thicket of aspens, and I think that's cool in a haunting kind of way. The trees have eyes. Here's another one. I'm keeping this. The trees absolutely have eyes, or have an eye. Here's the one with the trees having multiple eyes, just in a row. Aspens are really interesting and really creepy. I'm a big fan. Aspens and a mountain. What happens if I take out some of the... I see something there. I was not expecting that one. I figured this one was going to be sort of a write-off, but I see something in it. I like this less. This, again, feels like I'm sort of splitting my subject without actually establishing a connection. Hey, look. Flower. A little bit of a thistly guy here. Did a few of these. There we go. Got it to turn around. All right, so let's say no to this one. Let's say yes to this one. I think. Let's go through these. There's a bunch of them. A lot of the. Anytime there's animals or flowers, I'm gonna sit there and like. Not anytime there's flowers. I did kind of get flowered out by the end of this trip. But. Excuse me. Yeah, I did get a little flowered out by the end of the trip, but there we go. Now we're onto the next thing. I did enjoy taking photos of these flowers as I kind of worked my way through it. So there's one tilting up. Don't like that as much. I like this centered. I don't love this branch up here, but I like the centering, and I like it having the mountain in the background. That's a pretty good one. I like this less. I like the center one. I like the center one best so far. So here's our one to beat. Me trying to get that branch out of the way. I don't know if it works. I think. I actually like that one a little more. Turning that one down. Yeah, rejecting all the ones I want to reject. That's good. Next, all right. This is the new one to beat. That one doesn't do it. I think it's close, but I don't think quite gets there. No, I like the perspective on the one that we've got right now. So that's, even though we're getting closer, we're like, that's, hang on a second, that's wild. That's not a glitch. That's okay. This is parallax. That is cool to capture that. Okay, this one's getting kept, and this one's getting. Hang on a second. It's these two. All right, this one still getting rejected. This one getting kept, and this one is a selection. Okay. Let's talk about parallax real quick, because parallax is fucking cool, and I haven't had a chance to talk about it. I haven't had this opportunity. So, parallax is the interesting phenomena of as you move along, like, you know, imagine riding in a car and looking out the window. So you're moving parallel to things, and there will be things in the foreground, and there will be things in the background. And and parallax is the effect of things in the foreground moving. Like, it takes less movement on your part to make things in the foreground move a big deal, whereas the further away, the less they move. Which is why we can go through huge amounts of forest and still kind of have the same mountain in the background because it's so far away, versus like moving, a couple of steps might mean, the thing that's right close to you is now completely out of your view. This is that, and it's cool. So we're going, so this is just, I took, like, I don't even know if I took a step. I might have just shifted my weight a bit just to try to center up the flower on the mountain. And in doing that, literally looks like a glitch. Literally looks like there's just a part of this photo that just moves because everything else doesn't. But that's an example of parallax. That's how parallax works, where just a little bit of movement on my part. And this is also, when you're doing landscape photography, is a thing to be able to keep in mind, because using it to your advantage. I don't think I was intentionally doing that here. I wasn't thinking parallax when I took this photo. But like, you can use it to your advantage to sort of line up the elements that you want to line up. That was cool. I was not expecting that. That's neat. I love a cool science thing. This is the beaver dam that Steven was exploring. We were convinced there were beavers around it. Steven walked out on it and then walked back, and we could see, evidence of something moving under the water. But there's a mountain back there, isn't there? There's a mountain back there. Look at that mountain back there. This photo is better now, but I'm going to keep it. I'm not going to... Oop, there we go. Hang on. I apparently was committed to this idea. All right. In that case, we'll get rid of this one. I stuck with this for long enough to take, like, a couple shots. All right. All right. Notice this. Again, talking about the slight differences in lenses. This is at 70 millimeters. This is at 73. Notice the mountain feels a little bigger, and the things feel a little more connected to each a little bit. It's a barely noticeable difference, but to me, the mountain feels more prominent in the second photo, and that's a 3 millimeter difference. That is cool as hell. I'm keeping both. I think both are neat, but all right. We're about to hit some wildflowers. Aaron, if you're still watching, like, stay frosty. So yeah, I like this I think I like this more as a vacation photo than anything else. Yeah, not this one. We already talked about this one. Move on. Come on, Lightroom, get with the program. Another example of context being important. I like the wider shot here. I would have if Lightroom would let me look at it. I like the wider shot here. This is not a photo. I think it's going to get beyond the pick stage. But yeah, I like the little path down here. Kind of guides you through it. I like you get a more complete picture of the trees framing the mountain. It definitely is still about the mountain, but the trees don't feel like quite as much like there are X and we're trying to cut them out of a photograph. All right, here we go. Flowers, fields of these yellow wildflowers. And please direct all inquiries to Steven to find out exactly what these are. I am far better with flora than I am with fauna. Let's see. But yes. Sorry, I'm much better with fauna than I am with flora. Let me get that correct. But I do know what looks pretty, and this looks pretty. We're gonna keep this. We have how many photos do I have of these flowers? We're going to be here for a little bit. All right. Give me a sec. I want to correct my rotation on most of these. Going through these one at a time is going to drive me nuts. Rotate them. These are all rotates. There we go. Okay, cool. Yeah, you see where we're going with this. And this isn't even the wildflower part of the trip. The Jeep tour that we do. That's the next section is Specifically, one of the main goals of that trip was to go up into the mountains where you have the wildflowers. So like this is an unexpected bonus. Spoiler, I'm gonna like a lot of these, and I'm probably not gonna edit a lot of them, unfortunately, because they are very pretty. This one, I like this one better than this one. I do kind of like that. There's something about that slant, the dark kind of slash of stems in there, along with the fact that these two are on kind of an angle. There's something kind of pretty about that. I'll keep that one. All right, now we're getting a little bit of a lens flare. I'm overexposed in the sky, but if I bring the whites down, if I dehaze it a good bit, yeah, that's something really pretty. And now we're not overexposed. We're overexposed a little bit. That's fine. Yeah, if I bring the highlights down, you can see exactly where we're overexposed. Like, exactly the spots where there's no information to darken it down. But I wasn't expecting to want this one, but I do now. I'll just pick 2 stars because I started tweaking it. Actually, hang on a second. No stars. I'm just going to reset it in this way because I don't. I like this one better. That's the thing. Nope, we're keeping that one. We're getting rid of this one. There we go. All right. Please pause while we enjoy a mountain stream that I like as a vacation photo, and I do not like because of this tree in the way. Also, the fact that there was a truck, literally 2 feet next to me that was out there doing some kind of not drilling, but water sample testing, and it was taking samples. It was drilling down to take some water table samples. It does kind of sort of taints the view for me, just knowing that I'm sitting here next to effectively a cement truck. Look, there's the pipe that it had that it was using to get samples. But then we have photos like this, which are good, and that one's better. This one not quite as good. And these are all. This is on my 24mm lens. I think I get onto the wider lens soon. This one with a little bit of rotation could be really cool. Something about this isn't speaking to me the way I really want it to. I think I have better ones of this. No, we're not there. There we go. Mountain with a field of wildflowers. Can't say no to that. I think that's very pretty. Closer version of a mountain with a field of wildflowers. Also very pretty. Arguably prettier, but I don't know. I like this one better as a photo. I'm keeping this one as a vacation thing. I'm still all right. I've now switched lenses. We are now going to a wider lens. Let's talk about. Look at this. That's a 24mm. That's a 22. We're starting to really get into it. And the difference between all these photos is me adjusting my height, trying to find how much of this middle section do I want between the flower and the mountain. Because shot like that, really pretty. I like that a lot, but it's very flower. Shot like this, probably my favorite of the 3, because it's flower. It's fairly equal prominence, flower and mountain. This feels like there's some static in the middle, so we're gonna get rid of that. Like that. Again, flowers and mountains. Again, difference. This is 17mm versus this at 24. But I was also moving closer, so slightly different. I like this. I think there's some cool sky stuff. If I kind of darken the sky, if I I don't want to do that. Honestly, I'd bring the clarity down on this one a bit. Go a little softer, and then I would come down here to my color slider and take yellow and crank it up. Honestly, would orange be better? Orange a little bit. Green is going to bring up everything, so we'll bring the greens down. We'll bring the yellows up, and now we're catching the flowers. Like, that's how we would do that. 2 stars, keep it. Next. Me doing angles. Because I really liked how big the sky was. I wish I'd gotten a flower, like, right in the corner there. That's what I should have done with this photo. Let me be totally honest. I like the second one better. I like this weirder one of looking like we're almost doing a portrait. Like, honestly, looks better as a portrait. All right, keep that as a portrait. But like, yeah, I wish I'd gotten a flower like right in there. This is again 17 millimeters. It's still pretty wide, but not as wide as we can go. This is 22 millimeters. We've zoomed in, but we've also moved closer. So we've got. I love this one. This one's very, very catchy to me. Save that. I'm gonna come back to it. 16 millimeters, same spot, but we zoomed out a bit and brought the camera in a little closer. Not as good. I really like this one. This is the thing. This one, because the flower is kind of further away from us, everything here feels like it's. You still see the flowers, but the green is more prominent. And in this one, you really can't even distinguish the flowers, and so it feels like flower, stuff, mountain. This one, because in the color version especially, you can pick out the other flowers. This feels like flower, field of flowers, mountain, as opposed to just being stuff. The other thing that helps is because we've got this flower close, we've got these two close-ish, so it's easy to go from here to here, and then kind of follow it through to the rest of the flowers, and then to the mountain. We've got a journey we can go on, starting with this flower, and that's really cool. And then here's me, like, getting my angle right, and noticing the difference that makes. Because here, yeah, again, like, this is the one we rejected. It feels like there's just stuff in the middle. You don't really feel like you're guiding through it. Here, because you can see the flowers more prominently, and because it all seems to kind of come to a point, because we got some dark stuff down here and dark stuff here, and I probably will vignette this a little bit and make that a little more obvious in the edit. Yeah, this one ends up being better, even though it's essentially just the same angle, but slightly adjusted. Best thing to do when you're taking photos, when you're making photographs, and you take a photo, look at it, honestly connect with, like, how does this make me feel? Do I feel like something's missing? And then take another one and see if you can adjust. It's just step-by-step process of trial and error. I'm keeping this as a vacation photo. I like this a lot. I don't love the sign, but I do like this as a moment. And now I've cropped out the sign, and I still don't love this as much as I love the ones in the back. I like this mountain more. I dislike these flowers. I don't like these flowers as much, so it's a toss-up. Let's see. We went through a couple of versions of this. That might be the one. Getting the head of the flower and the petals to line up with the sky and still having the mountain in there. It's one of those things where it's like I'm looking at not this photo. I'm looking at this photo and saying, all right, I like it. I don't like it as much as the other ones. What can I do with this to really, instead of taking the same photo that I took over there, how do I take a photo that honors this collection of flowers and this mountain and this landscape and these clouds? And I think this one here was an attempt at that. I think this is not as good. What am I doing? Yeah, we said no to that one. No, we didn't. I want that. I want to keep that one. That's a vacation photo. This one I don't want to keep. We'll get rid of that. I don't like this one as much. I think this one's a little. Let's see. Yeah. For some reason I don't like this one as much. But then I start going low. I then start sticking the camera down into the foliage, and I like this. I think this is cool, putting the flower and the mountain kind of right in the middle there. And then I kind of saw. Let's do it again. Then I kind of saw. Wait a minute. There's this cutout of cloud. Let's try to see what we can do about lining the flower up with it, and let's get our horizon a little more straight. And that ended up being a really cool photograph. I like that. I don't know if I'm going to edit it, but I like that. Another. Oh, I think this is where the red Corvette shows up. A red convertible. Another one. Again, we're hinting at aspen trees. Aspens and mountains. We're getting there. That's the front wheel of the car. Of our car. I'm not doing anything with this photo. This one maybe. I like this. I was hoping to kind of highlight this route, this kind of drive that goes in there. It's like it's the almost like it's a mouth to something. Maybe. I'm feeling very ambivalent on these. I did at the time too. Just dehaze. Let me see. And if you're wondering why I tend to go to dehaze as my default, like, let's see what I can do with this photo. Is the dehaze is one of the most aggressive. It might be the most aggressive, like, just single slider that I've got, apart from exposure, which just doesn't really help. Exposure is kind of a blanket thing. Using dehaze is my good, like, all right, if I really just kind of throw this thing against the wall and see what sticks, and yeah, I can look at this and go, okay, I like the starkness at the peak. I like the light there, and then I can go back and go, okay, let's try to create something that looks similar to that but better with using the whole suite. Again, still not sure any of this is working. Hey, look at that. We love a good concrete barrier. All right, hang on a second. That's a vacation photo. I'm keeping that. I don't like this one as much. Let's go back to these. You know what, actually, I've got a couple more here. This one, I think, is a closer to representing the idea that I was going for, where I've got the road, the trees, and the mountain. I like this one. I think that one's close to what I'm trying to go for. This one, not so much. This one feels less interesting. Same here. Same deal. Less interesting. Let's go back to these guys here. See if there's anything that really catches my eye. Nah, I think that closer one kind of does the job best. Like, yeah, those three aren't really doing much for me. This is a vacation shot that I want to keep just because I want to keep it. And then yeah, I think this is the best expression of the idea. A little bit of work, a little bit of, yeah. Let's get some. Normally, I think that that kind of aura that ends up around like the edge of mountains and horizons is a bit much. I kind of like it here, especially if I can like. Yeah, I'm gonna have to be a little more creative with getting the lighting and the dappolated lighting on this road to pop. But I like this. I'm giving it a couple stars because I've already started because I tweaked it a little bit. We'll see. All right, reject these. Next. Yeah, again, me shooting that same road. Now I'm close enough that the mountain is not looming over, and I'm trying to. I don't know. I'm not even finishing this. It's not quite hitting. Closer. Still the same idea. I like it when the mountain looms over as opposed to the mountain being kind of feeling like it's an afterthought back there. Let's see. Meh. There it is. There's the dude driving the. Was that a Stang? Yep, looks like it. That's it, bro. Take that red Mustang convertible through 30 miles of unpaved road in the Colorado mountains. Okay, I'm just reconnecting stuff. I'm leaving that unflagged. That's a vacation picture. I want to keep that for my own reasons. Hey, all right, landscapes and aspens. Look at these guys. Look how pretty they are. Yep. Again, we're coming up on the photo that I'm like, this is my favorite aspen related photo in here. It's actually a couple coming up near the end. I have a glass of, again, drinking out of a goblet of iced tea, and I'm sitting here with my throat getting dry and going, you could drink something. If you coat your throat with sugar, then your voice can't possibly get tired. I've been told karaoke might be occurring later. I need to have a voice that can actually sing something other than Tom Waits. I like this. This is a good all-around mountain landscape photo. It's not really blowing your mind, but it is, I don't know, getting to first base with your mind, maybe. I like that. I like that a lot. It's another one. This is the difference here. Me I'm trying to bring the aspen trees a little more into prominence and also adjust my. I do like that as well. I'm a sucker for mountains, y'all. Mountains, trees, forests, some of my favorite things, and I think that's mostly because I'm primarily based on the East Coast and don't get to see them like this very often. But, ooh yeah, love it. Not this one, though. This one's less interesting to me. Again, here we go. I love this set of 3 peaks with the aspens in front. I think I like the other ones better, though. Yeah, something about this one isn't hitting as hard as the other 2 did for me. And again, once you've taken landscape, the next thing to do is turn your camera sideways. Take portraits. Hang on, let me see. I got a couple of these. Got some clouds doing some interesting stuff in here. Let's see. I already said no to that one. Let me dehaze this and get those clouds to show up. That's tumultuous. That is so, like, chaotic in a good way. Stop dehazing. Switch pictures. And that's kind of exactly what I was going to do. I'm keeping both of these because I'm not sure. The thing I'm not sure about right now, like I think I like the idea of going to a, really, I don't know. I like the idea of honoring like the light blues and greens and the colors and kind of doing that. And I also like the idea of going like dark and harsh with the darks and then the white like trunks of the aspens as a visual element. I like the idea of doing both. The question I don't know is the crop, right? I don't know if I'm going to crop, if I like this, where I'm going to crop out a little of the bottom and just have trees and mountains and sky, or if I like this, where I've got a little more brush before, and you can kind of see the whole thing happen. I'm not sure where I'm going to crop this. I'm going to keep both of these so I have the option open. Mountain overlooking. This was the thing. There was a spot out here where I was like, there's a mountain that I want to get a picture of a certain way, and I was stopped on the side of the road and just sort of walked this one section of road a couple times, just looking and being like, there's a spot here somewhere where the mountain is exactly where I want it. This is not that moment. We're going to move on. Mountain in the distance, aspens in the foreground. Not particularly enthused. Same here. What was I trying to do? Something about this, I feel like I was trying to... Oh! That's what it was. Okay. Hang on. Let's click... Stop adjusting the dehaze. Let's click through these and... There we go. That's... Now I know why I took these photos. Yeah, look at the way the light is just is just coming down on that. You don't need giant mountains to have a captivating photo of them. Yeah, I like this one better. I think I'm gonna have to fix my angle on this one, but I really like this cloud up here feels like it's an important part of that moment, and this photo here I feel like it doesn't cut it off, but it doesn't give it any breathing room either. This one just absolutely doesn't give it any. It doesn't even have it in the photo. These are over. Explain where you just went there, Lightroom. Yeah, I'm keeping this one. Can't tell you why. Just like, no, this one's staying. All right, got a couple of those. More mountains and aspens, which I'm just gonna keep liking because, yeah, they're just the powerful austerity of these mountains is just does really land. I like this one a little bit less. Yeah, here we go. Here's me trying to walk this path and get photos of get this mountain through the aspens. It's not this one. I know what this one is. I'm staying on this stream until I get to a certain photo because I've been teasing the aspens for a long time. It's not this. Just rotated the wrong photo. Guys, can we rotate the correct one, please? That's close, honestly. I don't like. It's not the photo I'm thinking of, but it also doesn't look bad. I'm gonna keep that one. I'm gonna keep that one. Something about that is landing with me in a good way. A little road to a grove of aspens. I did looks like 5 of these. Let's go ahead and sort them. These are also going to be slight differences. A little zoomed in. I'm taking the before and after off for a sec. That's not what I wanted to do. It's cool you can do that. But let's see. Let's go through these. Getting a little closer. Trying to... A little further back. A little down. A little too far back, I think. Yeah, a little too far back on that one. This one... I like that close one. I like that first one. I think the first two are the ones to keep on that from that group. Alright. A photo I have been trying to get and trying to feel like I've captured in a way that feels correct, and I haven't gotten there yet with a photo of a dead tree with the mountain or some kind of interesting landscape in the background. I tried it at Bryce Canyon. Got a really cool photo of the contours of a dead tree, but did not actually get the good background. I tried it again at Black Canyon. There's one that's close, but I think I like it better when the shot doesn't have the tree in it. I'm still working on this. It's not this photo, unfortunately. It's not this photo's time. Another good one here, just with mountain with trees. I don't know. It doesn't feel like it's. Let me go back to the black and white before and after stuff. Thank you. I like the kind of the slash of the trees here. Kind of gives you a nice. It gives this whole thing kind of a triangular sort of shape to it, but it's not really landing with me the way I want it to. This one's landing a little better. We got the mountain feels more complete. We got some additional ridges there, so it feels like it's part of a range. And we got this little slash of little cutout here. Feels like it's. You know, it's our entryway. It's our pathway that leads us through the trees to the mountains, to the sky. The sky is also doing some cool stuff. I dehaze that the sky is doing some really cool stuff. This photo is going to need a decent amount of like processing to really make it hit the way I want it to hit. But like, yeah, I like this one. This one's staying. Next. I like this one a bit less. I don't think it feels a little more of than about. I'm not sure not sure if this one necessarily feels like it's about the place, but it does to me. This to me captures closer to the feeling of being there than that one or this one does. Again, mountain and aspens. I'm still trying to find that perfect moment. This isn't it. Nope, same deal. Trying to contrast the stone and the trees. We did this earlier. It was a little spot where that spot where I cropped the mountaintop down, so you just had trees and stone. An ongoing thing that I don't think I'm getting to here. These photos aren't doing it for me. These are closer. This feels a little more. This kind of like these kind of aspen sen trees. There we go. You're giving me your attention. Feels that's not as good. Feels a little more like it's got a story to it. I'm keeping that one for a different reason. I'm gonna keep this one. This one I think is really interesting. Because it's the top of this mountain. It's this spot up here. I just zoomed in. Like, yeah, that's this same picture, just same spot, just zoomed in. But it's interesting to me because we have it like when you're looking at mountains, there's a thing called the timberline, or the tree line that are sort of used interchangeably and have there's a slight nuance of difference, but they're fairly close. And it's basically the point at which the terrain is high enough up that trees and the terrain is so rocky that trees can't take root. And that's where you get those, just like, you have the grass, forest, tree covered mountain, and then the rock up at the top, which is just cool. It was very cool to me to be looking at this mountain, a good chunk of this, because again, parallax, we're driving around in this mountain, we're seeing this mountain a lot. And then to zoom in on it on this view and be like, no, I don't need to go that close. Like, up at the very top, there are trees up there. This mountain technically doesn't quite break the timberline, which I thought was very neat. I don't know if I'm gonna say yes to this one. This one photo might be. I'm keeping it, but it might be. Ooh, that might be better. Hang on, let me be aggressive here. Hey, dehazing is not the thing to do on this photo. Clarity, I think, probably is. Yep. Okay, we're gonna keep the second one. The second one's better. Go back. Yeah. It did. Yeah. The fact that you have rock and then just a little package of trees up at the top. I think that's really cool. Cool enough that I kept taking photos of it. I like the wide shot better, or the landscape shot better. And again, this shot. Sorry, hang on, we're coming. All right, next thing. This controller is really looking to go backward. Every time I go, when I turn the knob to go forward, it goes forward one. When I turn the knob to go back, it's very finicky about how quickly it wants to go back. I might need to open up the programming on that one. This photo, I see what I'm going for. I don't know if I got there. I'm gonna keep this because I want to work on it. But I was going for like, look, there's a tree down here, and then way up at the top, there's also trees. Like, I'm gonna keep it. We'll see. I'm gonna play with it. Mountains and aspens, not the shot I'm looking for. There is a shot here I'm looking for. These are very cluttered. The other downside. Okay, that's pretty. It's not the shot I was going for, but it's very pretty. I'm on my wide lens for this, obviously. Okay, I've got a couple coming up here that I'm just like, all right, let's see. Not that one. This is me noticing that the sky is doing some. There we go. We just jumped back 2 again. The sky is doing some cool shit here, and so I was like, all right, in a second I'm gonna do a photo that really tries to honor that. This one's better. This one's good. This one's not. Nothing is bad. Yeah. Then we're doing this, where we're gonna make the mountains small, and we're gonna go just big sky. Just to really try to capture the scope of what this feels like. Not that one, weirdly enough. It's not this one either. It's the middle one. Yeah, this has kind of a Xanadu feeling to it. This makes me think of Citizen Kane and just this imposing structure that also is dwarfed by the enormity of the sky. This is one I want to dehaze. This one I want to put clarity on. I just want to highlight all the texture and this one. Let's bring the shadows down, bring the highlights up. This is a contrast photo. Look at that. I love it. It's so austere. Big fan. 1 star. Coming back. All right, I'm still looking for that one photo, guys. I'm gonna find it. This aspen tree, kind of in the foreground here. Very cool. There's a photo here that I was like really trying to get. I think it was this one. All right, we got 5. We got like 6 of these. Let's go through these real quick. We have 348 to go through in Kebler Pass, and we have not cracked 300 yet. But we are stopping at 293 or 294, because that's the photo I've been building us up to. I don't dislike this one. What I did with this aspen tree right in the middle, just those 2. Yep, this one feels better. Actually, let me check my centering here. That's a little off. That's closer to perfect. All right, yep. So I got the right instinct. No to this one. Back to this. Yes to this one. I like this aspen tree right in the center. I think there's, for a photo that's fairly chaotic and textured, that single bisecting aspen tree I think will add the right amount of order to it. All right, I got like 5 photos of this as I was trying to get that mountain right through the aspens. One of these moments of like, this is the spot where I'm walking up and down, being like, somewhere in here, I will find a composition that feels like there's order in this. That feels like the aspens are honoring the mountain's honoring the aspens. That felt really connected. This was that composition. It took me a good 5 or 10 minutes to find it, but like, and you can see me sort of rough drafting here. So I'm working my way to like, all right, which should I be trying to level out the mountain? Should I be leveling out the aspens, because the aspens are tilting at angles, and the mountain, by virtue of it being the distance away that it is, and me being on a wider lens, like I'm already warped a little bit. Trying to find that composition was, I actually don't hate this one, but yeah, no, this was the composition that to me I was like, yep, that feels like it. That everything clicks into place. This feels like a photo about aspens in front of a mountain, which is exactly what it is. But yeah, I like this one. That's what I was going for. All right, Lonely Mountain way out there with some cool sky stuff going on. Bring the shadows up. Let me brighten up the rest of this. Sky is cool. It's not really doing much for me at the moment. Yeah, I think I'm going to say no to all these. I'm going to save this one as a vacation shot because I do. There's things about this photo that I like, even if it's not a photo I want to edit. This photo. This is the one. This is the aspens. Because this, at first glance, I took this photo, and then I looked at the back of my camera, and I was like, wait, how am I getting a reflection of the mountain? There's not a lake there. Just the fact that this is just the trunks of the aspens happening to be in that kind of, like, just being, like, lining up that way. And yes, in this case, the mountain is the subject and the aspens are supportive. So it's not necessarily a photo that honors the aspens as much as some of the others we've looked at, but I loved finding this composition. This made me so freaking happy that I just connected with it this way. And I did a few more of these, trying to really give myself options. That one I don't think is as good. And we'll compare. Nope, not as good. So the first two. I don't know if I want to go darker or brighter, but like, yeah, that shot where it's like that, and it's like, yeah, at first glance, it's like, this is one of those things where it's like, at first glance, I see a mountain and a reflection, and then I look closer, I'm like, wait a minute, that's not a reflection. Those are aspens, and that makes the aspens cooler, because, yeah, I don't know why that makes them cooler. So, all right, I'm gonna call the stream there. I'm gonna throw 4 stars on this guy. Actually, not this guy. We know we like this guy. This guy is the next one. Rotate, 4 stars. There's a few of the, like, it's not the reflection shot, but I like this a lot because you've got aspens close, you got the road, you got more aspens back there, and then you got the mountain and the peak. This one's probably sticking around, but we'll make that decision tomorrow on stream when I come back to do more of this. But yeah, we are working our way through Kebler Pass. Yeah, we started at the back of the back, and we were already at 296. So we got 50-ish, 52 more from Kebler, and then we're on to Crystal, and then we're on to Maroon Bells, both of which I think have fewer. I think like Black Canyon had the most. I think Kebler's got the second most. One of them might have 360, but yeah, we're working through it. We got so many photos to go through, and then we get to start editing them, and that's gonna be a blast. So yeah, let's go ahead and switch back to this. So yeah, thank you all for joining me. Thank you for letting me just kind of spill my feelings on and kind of live in Colorado for a little bit longer. I will be back tomorrow to do more of this and to stream more of these photos and find more things. Potentially tomorrow might have a couple of other people in the room hanging out, so we might get a little more. It might be a little more conversational, which will be a blast. We'll see how we feel about that. But yeah, thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for being part of these little adventures. It is really, 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 really warming my heart to get to share these photos with you, even in their raw form. Because I think I have found is when I show someone one of my photographs, even if I succeed in my lofty goals of giving you really communicating the feeling of what it was like to be there, it doesn't. I have yet to find a way to communicate the immense joy and passion and excitement that I feel taking a photograph from, seeing something in the field, making a photo of it there, taking it into editing, choosing it, editing it, tweaking it, until I create the final thing. Like that whole process. The only way I've found to share it is to do it like this. So thank you for letting me share this and letting me be part of this whole story with you. Yeah, that's that having been said, I don't know where else to go, but have an amazing Saturday. Go out there, be super, do awesome things, and yeah, keep finding those moments of beauty. Stay connected to the world, because it's oh my god, I've never felt greater joy. All right, on that note, be kind, be safe. and don't stop. I'll see you next time.